There we go. All right, we're live now. Hey, what's going on, y'all boys? Carlos Gomez. So it's been a minute since I posted anything. For context, if you don't know who I am, I'm 21 years old, state of Ohio. I voted for Trump, but there's a lot of stuff that he's doing currently that I've been calling him out on. Gen Z and Catholic patriot. We're gonna be talking all about that, man. But I am going to be taking the position of America first. I think current MAGA, the state of MAGA. I don't think it's owning up to being America first, and I think Gen Z would have more to say on that. And we're going to go to Catholic as well.
Yeah. I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Braxton Foley. Live in California. I'm 18, senior in high school. Planning to go to college and then get my law degree. Here's where I stand on the issue. I mean, you guys might know me from YouTube if you're follow Gomez a lot from a long time ago. Um, but my position on the issue is that I don't support Trump anymore. I support very little that he's doing. He's doing a couple of good things on foreign policy. Um, but with the exception of that, I think what is happening in the right now is a great thing. I think what's happening with Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, Nick Fuentes, I'm not going to be afraid to say his name. All these people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, I think is a great thing. I know my Catholic Patriot holds the fact that we need to focus on
I'll discuss my own position. Thank you. Hey everybody.
Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm still giving my position. No, what I'm saying is I know what you made me lose my train of thought, but I'm not describing your position. What I'm saying is I know he supports Trump, and his main goal.
I will give my own positions. Thank you.
I'm not giving your position. You said your goal is to fight the left.
Yeah, you're defining my position for me.
Is your goal to fight the left?
We're already not starting off on a good foot. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is John Paul. I am a senior at Benedictine College. I am the vice president of the largest undergraduate pro-life organization in the nation and possibly the world. I haven't run the numbers on that one, but if we're the biggest in the United States, we might be the biggest in the world. And I am also somebody who is fleeing California for the great state of Tennessee, and I am looking forward to attending law school, hopefully at Notre Dame. And hopefully this live stream isn't the reason I don't get to go there. So my position is that I very much agree with Gomez. I voted for Trump in 2024, and I also canvassed for him in Milwaukee, helped him get over the line there. And I am not pleased with certain things that the Trump administration, and particularly Trump, is doing and saying. But at the same time, I am very much coming over to the side of the Charlie Kirk conservatives. And I see the problems that the MAGA coalition is beginning to form, especially with the insurgent ideology of the Groypers. However, I am still someone who says that we need to be united against the left as a front right now, and then we can hash out our own differences later on.
Okay.
I'm going to respond.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
So yeah, the Charlie Kirk coalition. I agree. The guy that said that the guy that turned down $100 million from Israel, the guy that was increasingly going against them, the guy that said he was going to bring Candace Owens to the Turning Point Convention and bring everyone together, and he was increasingly growing anti-Israel, which he conveniently left out. At the same time, here's my position that I didn't get to finish. It is clear who Trump is attacking. It is clear who the neoconservative right is attacking. Characters like Mark Levin, characters like Ben Shapiro, characters like Trump are being paid by Israel. Every single Republican of Congress is being paid by Israel with the exception of two. Those two congressmen have been called out by Trump, even though they were some of the most pro-Trump congressmen. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we need to unite the right makes zero sense when one side is advocating for wars, saying that there's weapons of mass destruction in Iran, like the Bush administration did, and saying that we're going to push these people out of the conservative movement. That's not uniting. If you're really serious about uniting, then you can't try to get people banned off of social media and kicked out of and fired from jobs and force them to apologize like Kevin Roberts when they simply defend Tucker Carlson's right to free speech. So I don't think either side, or I don't think the neoconservative side is actually serious about uniting the right because they're trying to cancel people. And so I don't understand how you're saying that we need to unite and then attacking people like Nick Fuentes when he will unite with anyone, but they're trying to silence him. And the simple fact is that side has lost. They lost the war of silencing him. He has 500,000 people that follow him on Rumble. 50,000 viewers a night, 1 million followers on Twitter. You can't disregard the ideas anymore. The simple fact is hundreds of thousands of young men support him. Washington Post came out with a poll that 30% of Washington, D.C. is secretly gropers. They're infiltrating the institutions. America First is winning, and there's nothing that can be done about it. The Mark Levins and Ben Shapiro's are losing. And the simple fact is that we cannot fight the left until the conservative movement is actually conservative. And the simple fact is that they aren't. They're being paid for by Israel, and that is why our president is attacking people that are actually trying to put America first.
Gomez, why didn't you give your position either affirming or against that before I go?
Okay. You want me to give my position on what he just said?
Yeah, pretty much.
I got you. Yeah. So Nick Fuentes, he said, in the past, he said some, questionable things, specifically, about interracial marriage and some other stuff. But I think specifically pertaining to this issue, I think Gen Z is correct. I think, I think a lot of the right disregarded a lot of what Nick Fuentes said, whether it was racist, sexist, misogynistic, whatever. But as soon as he started questioning Israel, I feel like that's kind of, where they drew the line is Israel, which that weirds me out a little bit. But I do think that Gen Z is right, specifically when referring to, it's going to be hard uniting us when half of, the right wing wants to infiltrate Iran and Venezuela when the other half wants to, stay and help Americans. And I think that's kind of the hard line that we have.
Okay. So, I guess, first of all, let me lay out my position on this clearly so that nobody can accuse me of being something that I'm not. I am not a fan of Israel. I am not a fan of the things that they have been doing. I am not a fan of their influence in American politics, and I think that they should be removed entirely from it. And moreover, even just going beyond Israel, I think that there's a lot of foreign money pouring into the Democrats, into Antifa, clearly, that's been investigated recently. We need to get foreign money out of American politics, no matter who it's coming from. Be it Israel, be it Ukraine, be it China, Russia, anybody. It needs to be a high crime, almost on the level of treason, in order to take foreign money in order for you to go and do politics in this country. I don't think that's a controversial issue in this group of people at all. Would you guys have anything to say against that?
No, we hold that same position.
Okay, so that's where I'm coming from with all of this. I am not going to defend Israel. They suck. The JFK files really turned me against them. And everything they've been doing since then just screams of a country that wants to exert influence on the United States, as basically any foreign adversary of ours would. Correct. So I'm not defending Israel at all. Second thing is, I will concede to Gen Z's point that the right ignored Nick Fuentes to its own detriment, and that we have come to a point now where his ideology has to be confronted head on and has to be exposed for what it is, which is either the most successful grift in history or direct deep state influence in order to undermine undermine everything that the right has been doing, everything that we have been building towards in this country in order to actually save it from the corrupting forces inside of it, including Israel. The last thing I want to say is that I was very much of the opinion that nobody should platform Fuentes because I thought his ideas were completely outrageous. And in large part, I still do think that his ideas are outrageous, but it's come to the point where clearly we can't ignore him anymore. He's here to stay. He's going to be a cultural force. But what we can do is expose the ideology for what it is. It's not right-wing. It's not conservative. It's not even America First, in my humble opinion. And I think Charlie Kirk would have agreed with me. It's an insurgent ideology that seeks to morally grandstand and seeks to prove its own moral superiority over everything, to the even exclusion of handing over the American dream to leftist anarchy and destruction. So that's very much my position on Fuentes.
Okay. So, Genji, did you want to make a response?
I will. No, before I make a response, he said a whole lot of stuff, but I need you to elaborate more on what about Fuentes' ideology is harmful and not conservative, because I don't even know.
Or American First.
Yeah, I don't even know what angle you're coming from right now.
So Fuentes is one of these people who I think this happened with John Doyle too. they got wildly successful when they never expected to be. I do think that Fuentes probably started out as somebody who, as I said before, was either grifting and trying to just say outrageous shit on the internet in order
Just
to get
trolling.
clicks and attention, or he legitimately was being paid by bad interests. But you can't go on the internet and say stuff like, we need to crusade against Jews, or we need to criminalize interracial marriage. Especially for the time period he started saying that stuff in, that was not even close to the Overton window. And it really does go to show that there's malign influence behind Fuentes as a character. He did not come from the same background as people like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is completely self-made. Fuentes, he built himself up, but it was not in isolation. Especially if you look at all of the stuff that has been happening with his account in the last 3 or 4 years. The surge that he has been getting in internet traction is not organic. It's not organic by any conservative metric. It's not organic by any liberal metric. There's something nefarious going on with Fuentes' influence. And it's not just that young men are becoming increasingly disillusioned with the view of America proposed by the boomer left and right. It's something else entirely. I don't know exactly what, but if you look at the numbers, it's not organic. And so that's something that I think people need to realize is that, yeah, the conservative movement made a huge mistake by trying to shut him out of the conversation. And it went against our own moral principles to do that. At the same time, there's a threat posed by Fuentes and the people who follow him. And it threatens to legitimately destroy everything that we have done as a movement up until this point, to the total detriment of this country. The win scenario for Fuentes is a Congress full of Massies. I don't think that that's a controversial thing to say on this panel. I think that he would genuinely enjoy that. And that would lose us every election from now until 2050.
Yeah, can I make a response to that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the issue with that, massive voting no, I feel like, when bills aren't individual solutions, it kind of makes it hard. And the reason why he denied signing off on, several of the bills that were passed is because, there's 10% of it could be good for the American people, but the other 90% could be terrible. Or 90% of the bill could be good, but the other 10% could be really bad to the point it overrides that 90%. So I think specifically with that, including like foreign aid packages and including anything of that nature that doesn't put Americans first, I think that's kind of where we disagree, is because the bills aren't being passed as single issue bills,
Certainly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I do have something to say on that front, but I'll wait until Gen Z's response.
Yeah, I want to give my response. Okay, sorry. I was just taking notes on what you were saying. Okay, so if we're going to talk about Nick Fuentes, if we're going to attack him and saying that his stuff, I needed to get your clear position. So your two arguments was either that he's just completely grifting or that he was paid off by interest. I don't know what interest you're talking about. You might be talking about Russia. You might be talking about Iran. But either way, you're saying he's grifting or he was paid off by someone in 2016 when he had 200 followers on Twitter and Ben Shapiro was attacking him. Okay, so I want to first start off with the grifting thing. If he is grifting, if he is doing this for attention, financial gain, I guess the definition of grifting, then to me this argument makes very little sense, because he started college by debating people. He became great friends with that Cassie Dillon at the Daily Wire, and he started debating people. Eventually, he was getting bullied so bad at college for his opinions that he left after the first year. He then started to have a small Twitter account. He didn't start live streaming yet. He then tried to get a job at the Leadership Institute. At this point, he didn't hold radical opinions. He got fired from the Leadership Institute, and he got not banned at that point. He got fired from the Leadership Institute and got called out by Ben Shapiro for making the tweet. And this is exactly what the tweet says. If you put Mexico first, or let me find the exact tweet, but it said something, I'm going to paraphrase. He said something like, if you put Mexico first, you're not American. If you put Israel first, you're not American. If you put Iran first, you're not an American. And Ben Shapiro responded by saying, if you accuse any Jew of dual loyalty, that is the surest sign of anti-Semitism. From that point on, the only job he could get in the conservative movement was a 20 views per night show on Right Side Broadcasting Network. At that point, Right Side Broadcasting Network wasn't big. Then he started calling out stuff like Israel. Then he started calling stuff out like the grift in the conservative movement, and he became a very big Trump fan. Because he was starting to call out Israel, though, Ben Shapiro and Cassie Dillon personally called the dude that was the CEO of Right Side Broadcasting Network and got his show taken off the air. About 2 years later, he got banned off of every single social media, even the far right ones like Gab and Parler and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Him and Alex Jones were the only ones banned. He got put on the no-fly list. He got excommunicated from every single facet of the conservative movement. He had to move in with his parents because he was so broke, but he kept his fight going because he believed in what he was saying. I don't get how you could say that he was paid by someone from that point on if it is clear that he didn't have any money at that point. While Charlie Kirk grew up in a well-middle class family, and I think he did have an organic upbringing, I agree with you on that. Now, you're saying at that point it wasn't in the Overton window. I agree with that, and that is why I believe he deserves the attention that he has now. And the thing I disagree with you most on what you said is that Fuentes isn't self-made. He grew up in a low class studio condo in Chicago. Both of his grandparents committed suicide. They were, both of his
I didn't know that. What the hell?
Both of his grandparents committed suicide. They were.
It was some kind of mutual suicide pact they had.
Yeah,
I haven't read super extensively into it, but it's a screwed up situation.
And his one grandpa was a truck driver, or not a truck driver, a garbage truck man, and he grew up in an actual American home, not like these AstroTurf Brylan Holyhands of the conservative movement. Now, the only thing that I even heard you say about Nick Fuentes and that entire thing, besides saying that he was AstroTurf and harmful, is his jokes about interracial marriage. Now, I'm not going to defend every single Nick Fuentes clip that he's had over the last 10 years, but what I am going to say is that Nick Fuentes was completely banished from the conservative movement, so he wanted to be edgy. Nick Fuentes now, compared to the Nick Fuentes of 5 years ago, is completely different. Nick Fuentes did make Hitler jokes, like I've made Hitler jokes that I'm not going to lie about. But the simple fact is, if you're going to criticize Nick Fuentes for that, you're going to you are going to lose every single person under the age of 20 that use Discord. And the reason for that is because we all do that. We're all edgelords. Everyone that was on Discord in 2020 is an edgelord. I don't agree with everything Nick Fuentes says. I don't agree with everything Thomas Massey says. But the simple fact is that the conservative movement hates him because he's opposing Israeli and Jewish influence. And that is why I support him. And that is my take.
Our group chat's cooked, bro.
Yeah, dude, if the Discord messages are enough to get you like in Nick Fuentes' position, I'm never getting into grad school.
Yeah, boy.
So you kind of said a lot there, and I want to unpack a lot of it. And the main thing that I want to focus on is there's this war going on between Conservative Inc. and between this supposed America First faction, which in reality threatens to totally undermine America First. And Fuentes and Ben Shapiro, I feel like, are the proxy pieces for it. They're the media heads, the talking points, but they're not representative of everything behind those two factions. So a good example of what I want to bring up about specifically discrediting Fuentes is there was a comment fairly recently in his streaming that I saw. It was, I want to say, circa 2023. So this is considered modern Fuentes by most people's standards, where he was going off and off and off and off about how genetically inferior Black people are. And he got a comment that was saying something along the lines of exactly what he was, just a little more bluntly and extremely. And his response to that was, whoa, calm down there, dude, hold your horses. That is kind of sus behavior. And, you know, if you genuinely believed all these things, what's wrong with somebody restating it back to you? That would show that your audience is internalizing it. if you really are all about free speech absolutism and you're all about making all of these jokes about Hitler, which nobody in this chat is innocent of,
Yeah.
myself included. Nobody here is innocent of. Nobody in the online right is innocent of. We all know
Online left neither, bro. They're always making them jokes too.
Yeah, exactly. Like we all know what goes on Discord.
Oh yeah.
Not claiming innocence of that. But
so
if you are so opposed to conservative Inc. and you're so opposed to the ideas that they're pushing, why is it such a big problem when somebody just restates it back to you? Nick Fuentes is not an honest character. He is not trying. He doesn't actually believe the things that he's saying, and I've come to a pretty solid conclusion about that.
So this interaction that you're talking about, when did this happen?
Well, that's not relevant. I mean, I know you're
June 2023. This is in the time period.
June 2023. So I think a point that you made earlier, you said he's either being paid or he's either just trolling. I honestly believe wholeheartedly that previously the dude was trolling, like you said, but now the dude is like it's clear he has like a future, in some shape or form he has a future, whether it's actually running for federal politics or local politics, or even if it's just like doing content even on a bigger scale. He has a plan, and that's why he's kind of like trying to PG-13 it right now.
Wait, but I want him to elaborate. I want CPUSA to elaborate more on why he believes Fuentes doesn't hold the views that he says.
Because at every opportunity he's been given in the past years to double down on what he thinks and just affirm the things that he's getting back from his own audience, he's consistently denied doing that.
That's not true.
It shows a level of dishonesty that was never present in any of the big conservative thinkers that people really hail as being ideologically honest. Your Tim Pools, your Charlie Kirks, your Candace Owens. Even Owens will double down the way that her audience kind of prompts her to, which I'm not her biggest fan, but credit where credit's due. At least she's honest.
You have to give me an example. You have to give me an example because I watch his show every night. He hasn't changed one view over the last 5 years.
That's because you haven't noticed.
No, it's not because I haven't
Gomez
noticed.
said, I don't want to misinterpret Gomez trying to clean things up as anything other than Fuentes trying to prepare himself for a political career, because clearly he's built one for himself. But that being said, there's a way of going about it honestly, and there's a way of going about it dishonestly. And Fuentes has consistently gone the route of dishonesty. Yeah, Trump shat on everybody.
But I feel like you're just
we'll get there. Don't worry.
I feel like you're just using these words instead of giving me examples, though. Like you're saying, Fuentes doesn't double down. 3 nights ago on his show,
gave you an example, dude.
3 nights ago on his show, he said he still doesn't believe the Holocaust number. And whether you think that that's true or not, he's been consistent on almost every single issue.
Yeah. So, okay. So another good example of this. This was when Fuentes tried to get into CPAC a couple years ago. And actually, not even a couple years ago. This was like less than a year ago. He ran into a group of his supporters and he just totally shat on them. Like, this is on camera. You can look this up. He's like, I don't agree with you guys. You guys are bullshitting. You guys don't believe anything that's based in reality. Get the hell away from me. And by all accounts, these were bona fide groypers. These people watched his show every night just like you do. So there's moments where you get unfiltered Fuentes, and it's not the Fuentes that you see on camera. This is really why I've come to the conclusion that be he a grifter or a deep state actor, he's not honest. But he has become a proxy piece in this war between this insurgent Groyper faction and Conservative Inc., which really is just an institutionalized insurgent faction. If you want my honest take on what like the Ben Shapiros of the world are too, because I'm not going to spare them from criticism either. I'm very much sandwiched in the middle between these two factions, watching each other burn the right to the ground and totally dishonor Charlie Kirk's legacy. So I'm not going to spare them from criticism because they're equally part of the problem. The Bens of the world are these people who are caught up in two different things. They're either, like as you accuse them of, rightly, totally ideologically aligned with Israel, and they're totally state interest actors of Israel. And they need to be called out as such. And that's probably one of the Groyper's only good points. It's one of the reasons that's also garnered them so much popularity, is calling this very, very bad practice out that the Bens of the world are committing.
Yeah.
The other camp, which thankfully is going the way of the wind, is your holdovers from the Bush era, your McConnells, your Lindsey Grahams. I mean, these people are just, they're aging out of politics, but they're very much still entrenched in conservative ink. And I can tell you that for a fact because I deal with these people behind the scenes in what I do as the RRL VP. Like, you would not believe how many of these people still hold influential positions in the groups that I deal with. And they're losing it over time, but they haven't lost it yet. And they still can throw around their weight in certain conversations. So those people need to go as well. But that should not be taken as representative of the rest of the right wing other than just the Groypers. And so I want to, before we go into like any kind of rebuttal of what I just said, I want to distinguish the camp that I'm representing. It's MAGA, I suppose. It's people who haven't necessarily lost faith in Trump, but it's not people who are treating him like a cult either. That's another group that I want to distinguish from. I didn't give Charlie Kirk enough credit while he was alive, and I thought he was too tied to the hip at Israel when in reality he was moving away from it.
Yeah. Does any of you, or I'm sorry, do any of you want to answer this comment that someone just responded, or I can give a response if you guys want me to?
Is having cordial relationships with
cordial? No, I mean there's something to be said about a political alliance, right? And I think that the isolationist camp of the Groypers and especially Massey are historically illiterate. I would love it if America could become totally isolationist and we could just only focus on our own issues. But the reality of the situation is we are the world's superpower. And if we suddenly decided that we're not, you would see a global power shift that would have dramatic consequences that are not favorable to the U.S.
Okay.
That goes well beyond just protectionism.
Okay, wait. Let me wait. I want to respond to this real quick, then give my rebuttal because too much is being said for me to have an actual coherent response. Okay, so I'm first to answer this question. Yes, I think having a relationship with Israel is a fundamentally horrible idea. Now, I'm not like one of these people that are like, we can only do stuff for America. I think foreign policy is extremely important. I think that getting involved in other wars is sometimes a good idea. I think alliances are necessary. But my position with Israel doesn't come from that. I think Israel serves no benefit to us and it actually serves a harm to us. I think that Jewish individuals, for large part, lobby the United States government to do stuff that actively hurts our country. Jewish billionaires like Miriam Adelson give billions of dollars to politicians to try to push their agenda. And their agenda is to ruin Christianity. If you read the Torah, it always talks about, there's a verse in the Torah that is like, our biggest goal, I mean, they killed Jesus Christ, first of all, but their biggest goal is to ruin Christianity. They call us goys. All that type of stuff.
That's not in the Torah. You're thinking of something else. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible, dude.
The Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible plus Jewish scripture.
This is Old Testament or what?
The Torah, this is where I really have to go in and correct the historical revisionism of the Groypers. And just blatant lies that certain more radical elements of the
faction. Okay, but wait, let me. Okay, yeah, you can respond to that, but I need to give my whole response because I have a lot to cover. But the Jews don't help us. I mean, if you take a look at the top 30 media companies and the top 30 porn companies, all of those are almost owned exclusively by Jews. They control a large portion of the media for almost 50 years of American history since Israel was created in the 60s, I believe. No. 50s, somewhere around
right after World War II.
After World War II. But the point is that I think they are fundamentally hurting the United States. Now to go to what CPUSA said on CPAC.
Yeah, wait, actually, let me make a response to the is having cordial. You said cordial. Hold on, what the fuck does that say? Cordial? What does that say?
Yeah, cordial.
I think.
All right, I can't see. Is having cordial relations with Israel a fundamentally, and I can't see. Does it say good or bad? It's being blocked. Idea. I can't see. It says bad idea. Yeah. I think it's terrible. I think we look at the amount of ceasefires that they broke. Even Trump ceasefire that he put in place in beginning of October last month.
broke in like
Granted,
3 hours.
granted, Hamas is also breaking ceasefires. My position isn't to defend Palestine or Gaza. My position is I just don't want to be involved. I don't want to have a position. I want to be able to help Americans at home. No, that's a terrible idea. Gen Z, you can continue.
Okay. So yeah, I think that now going to the Fuentes point, I think something that CPUSA doesn't understand, and lots of like the Ben Shapiro's and Mark Levin's don't understand, and people attacking this is I don't agree with probably 40% of what Nick Fuentes says. I don't agree with pretty much Massey's entire ideology on libertarianism. I don't agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson on everything. I don't. I
Kind of
have my own.
hilarious people rope Tucker into all of this when Tucker's really not a part of that camp.
He is a part of that camp. But let me
He is
finish.
definitely not.
Is that I don't agree with these people on all issues. The thing I do agree with all these people on is the fact that they aren't bought or paid for by a foreign government. All these people
Right.
have free autonomy because they're not blackmailed. And so
Massey's campaign took money linked to Starmer. You can't say that they're not linked to foreign interests.
Massey isn't linked to foreign interests.
But
Dude, let me
look at
me
his
continue.
campaign finance records. Yes, he is.
Okay, you're gonna have to send me his campaign finance records.
Okay.
But let me finish my argument.
I will get on that.
Is all these people are not bought or paid for by a foreign government, and they're doing what they actually believe is in the best interest of the American people. And that is clear why Trump won't call out people like Lindsey Graham, that is literally gay and not conservative in any sort of aspect, but he will try to primary the two people that aren't being bought and paid for by Israel, which is Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's threatened by both of them because they take $0 from AIPAC, and Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to end the H-1B program, and she's actually putting America first. Trump wants to keep importing all these Indians and give them our high-paying jobs, and these politicians actually want to put America first. Now, there is rumored that Dave Smith, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a couple other people are going to all get together and have a convention. And I've heard this from someone close to, or someone that knows Nick Fuentes. We'll see if it actually pans out to be true. But all these people have connection in some way or another. And they're going to figure out, also the Fishback dude that's going to run for Florida governor, he's a pretty influential one in this space also, is they're going to talk about how to transform this new right. And so, no, I don't agree with every ideological point of any of these people. And Nick Fuentes, if you read his super chats, he kind of hates his fans, and that's kind of true. He thinks that they're stupid, which lots of them are. They're low IQ'd Southern white people. And so he has a point there. But my reason for supporting these people is that none of them agree ideologically. Massey, Green, Tucker, Fuentes, none of them agree ideologically on everything.
Right.
But they are trying to put America first and doing what they believe is best for America, and fighting people that are bought and paid for by a foreign government. So that's my position.
Correct. Gen Z or Catholic, you got a response or anything you got like that?
I want to address this. I want to address this point that in any way, shape, or form, what these people are doing is America first. These people would sacrifice America on the altar of moral correctness in order to prove themselves to be the morally superior force on the right, and literally hand the country over to the left in the elections in order to do it. They're short-sighted. They're stupid, frankly. And I say that not to denigrate their career. I say that in a political context. Massey's political career is over. No, he's not getting reelected. I don't know if you guys have looked at his polls lately, but he's not popular in his district.
Yeah, let's see what happened last time.
Not coming back.
Him.
Well, yeah.
NTG just had the support pulled out from her by Trump. That's going to massively hurt her in any reelection attempt.
It will.
That
doesn't matter.
Hold on.
I don't know.
Let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have done canvassing on the ground. I have talked to your average conservative voter. I have talked to the people at their doors who go out and they vote every election cycle, the normies, if you will. And I'm telling you, the normies are the people who still support Trump. You get the oddball once in a while, once in every couple hundred houses, and I don't make that number up. I have stats to prove it.
I believe you.
You run into the oddball every once in a while who's a Republican or a conservative, but they hate Trump. And they fall into one of two camps. They're either a Bush disaffected conservative, air quotes conservative,
Ew.
or they're one of this new right groypers. Either way, they're few and far between. And if you think I'm wrong about that, go canvass with Susan B. Anthony. You'll figure it out real quick.
I don't disagree with that.
So,
Catholic, yeah, CPs. I think. Yeah, no, 100%. You're right.
Cannot muster up the political, not political spine. What am I looking? What's the word I'm looking for? The political capital, in order to actually put their ideology into practice. But what they can do is show that there is an ideological split in the right, and that at this point in history, and you guys have seen me on Discord talk about what I think is around the corner in this country extensively, and I'm dead set on that. At this point in history, an ideological split in the right to this degree is extraordinarily dangerous. It is extremely, extremely dangerous to the future of this country because the left is rallying. They just got Mamdani in, who's a total psychotic radical. They just got, what's the guy's name in Virginia?
Damn, I don't know.
The guy who ran for AG and said he wanted to kill his opponent's kids so the guy would vote for gun control.
Oh, he won.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Elected. The totally liberal candidate for governor in Virginia just got elected. The Democrats won a race they really shouldn't have in New Jersey. And whether or not you want to argue there's foul play there, there's still enough support for them that it didn't look immediately obvious that there was. And by all accounts, in California, at this point, when it really should go red, when we really should get a conservative governor because of all the failures of Newsom, the polls show that the crazy leftist who can't even handle CNN interviews, she's going to win. Because people don't trust the conservatives right now. People don't trust the Republican Party to actually have a coherent message. Part of that is Trump. A good part of it is Ben Shapiro and all these ideological Indians and Jews who want to rip the party to shreds as much as the Groypers.
Yeah, the people Trump's trying to bring in, by the way.
But you understand that the same ideology is present in this Groyper faction, that they're perfectly happy to see the Democrats in power over the next 20 years if it means that they control the right. It goes well beyond.
I agree with that. That's the goal.
Yeah, and I mean, you admit it.
I do admit it.
Nick
Fuentes admits it too. If JD Vance is nominee in 2028 and he doesn't pick a side,
I was waiting for you to bring that up because I'm gonna read a tweet from John Doyle. Even though I vehemently disagree with this guy, I think he hits the nail on the head here.
I'll either not vote for JD Vance or I'll vote for the Democrat.
Okay, you are straddling the line of evil here. And I'll get to that in my next round of talking. I want to talk about what comes next in this country after this. I'll let you guys respond to what I'm saying now. But before I do, I want to read a tweet from John Doyle. Because even though I think this guy's crazy as much as Fuentes is, he hits the nail on the head here. It's so funny because Vance's messaging is literally always perfect. Yet the most based TM accounts on here always cite him as the biggest villain who under no circumstances can be allowed to win in 2028. Really makes you wonder what their true motives are. I think he's completely right. Vance is, by any logical account, the singular best person we could run other than Charlie Kirk. He's got the most wide-ranging support. He's the most likely political candidate to win of either party. And he's already got about 2/3 of the people who rallied behind Trump in his previous election supporting him right now, which that has never once happened in this country's history.
Thank you, Peter Thiel. Thank you.
Zion in the comments is a question right after you guys are done.
Peter Thiel as much as you want, but Peter Thiel can't get that amount of support.
Yeah, I know, but he could AstroTurf it.
Anyways, I'll let you guys.
Yeah, just like Bush got support. Just like Bush got support. That doesn't make him a good guy.
So Zion in the comments. Zion in the comments says. Zion in the comments says, what's even the next course for the right in the next few years? Gen Z or Catholic? I guarantee you both of them have different answers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, more than likely. So whoever wants to answer that first.
Yeah. That's a
Gomez,
great point.
how spicy are you willing to let this stream get?
Do whatever you want, man. This is a channel I don't really use.
I'm just gonna say
all right, I'll give my unfiltered thoughts. Gen Z, you go first.
Okay.
No N-words, but yeah, you're good.
I don't say the N word. I love all races, even the bad ones. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Oh,
A lot to dissect. Okay, I'll answer this question first.
I
I
disavow
think
that, by the way. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
what's the course of action? I think the course of action, and I think Fuentes actually has laid this out pretty well. Something I do agree with him on is in 2026, I'll probably just vote straight Republican ticket. I don't really care. That's not where my priorities are focused. Now, if there's a complete neocon, I might just not vote for
Oh, you
certain
get the
places.
Tony Gonzalez's of the world out of politics.
Yeah, but I'll support like my local conservatives and stuff like that. I'll also very heavily campaign for Fishback for the Florida governor's race because I believe that he could beat Byron Donalds, and I believe that could be a start of a revolution.
If that happens, I will start believing what you say. But
Wait,
until
what
that,
state is that?
I'm
Is that in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I
The American
don't
first
think
one?
to be clear, I don't think he'll win, but I think he could gain. I think Byron Donalds will win with a large
test
margin.
will be to see by what margin he loses.
Yeah, he will lose, but by what margin? Now here's the thing: is what I see for the right is in 2028, and 2028 is when America First is going to make their stand. They are going to go to Iowa. They are going to go to New Hampshire. They're going to go to these places. They're going to go to every single town hall meeting. They're going to go to the debates, and they will push.
They're going to go on CNN like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Sure. Who cares? You should go on anything that will give you a platform. What they are going to do is they are going to make every single person, and the Jewish lobby is also going to do this. They are going to make them either choose whether they want to put America first or whether they're going to keep taking money from the Jews, whether they're going to support H-1B immigration and millions of Indians coming into the country, or whether they're going to oppose that like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now,
Shane Vance doesn't support that.
Well, yeah, JD Vance is just a line teller that's like a lukewarm. Okay, I keep hearing myself. I think your audio is echoing, Gomez.
Yeah, it's Gomez.
But yeah, and so they're going to make them choose between either America First or Israeli money. And JD Vance is going to be a prime example of this. He's done a good job, to my credit. Today, he made a tweet that defended Tucker Carlson's son. That's a groyper. JD Vance, one of his top advisors, Buckley, is actually a groyper. He listens to Nick Fuentes. And if you look at his Twitter
Listening
account,
to Nick Fuentes doesn't make you a groyper.
No, he's a self-admitted groyper. Buckley talks to Nick Fuentes. And so he defended him on Twitter today, saying we need to have a wide range of views in the conservative movement. And so I think JD Vance's signaling is good. And I will 100% support JD Vance if he chooses the side of American First. But where this is going to head is JD Vance is either going to have to choose one of two options. He's going to have to choose whether he's going to take money from Miriam Adelson, whether he's going to take money from AIPAC, or whether he is going to get the support of America First, whether he's going to get the support of a couple million young Americans, maybe 2 or 3% of the Republican Party, and whether they are going to vote for him. Now, whether you like it or not, if he does not get the support of 3 to 4% of people my age, people like me, he will lose the general election. He will probably win the primary, but he won't win the general election. And that's the simple fact. And if he chooses the side of Israel first and America last, then I will gladly maybe even vote for the Democrat to send a message that I'm not going to support a party that doesn't put my country first. And that's where I see the conservative movement heading. Everyone's going to have to choose a side. Matt Walsh isn't going to be able to work for a Jew that hates Christians. He's not going to be able to keep towing this line. He's going to have to choose whether, like he said on his podcast, he puts America first and America only, or whether he puts America last. And so that's my position. And I will gladly go out. And I'm not going to be too public about it because I want to be a lawyer and everything. But I'm going to support these candidates, and I'm going to support people that put America first.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's at the means of voting voting for a Democrat, specifically in 2024, it would have been impossible to do so, specifically because Kamala Harris and both of them were like AIPAC funded. Both of them we would have been in the same bucket, even if it's the Democratic, candidate.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris winning the election would have done pretty much
would
the
have
same
destroyed
as
this country.
It would have done a lot more damage, and that's why I
it
don't
would have
regret
done
my
more
vote.
damage. I think it would have been.
We would not be living in America.
I think we all agree. Like,
Yeah, you said that about Biden too, but I think it would have.
We weren't. We got flooded by the third world.
I think.
True.
Well, we're still getting flooded by the third world. But
What do you
instead
mean?
of it,
We're net negative immigration.
Well, we got like a
yeah, we're
sprinkler
net
on.
negative illegal immigration, but
No,
if
we're
you're
at net negative immigration.
That's just not true. That's just a simple fact. That's
Wrong.
Even legal?
We're bringing in a million.
We're at immigration just in general. Legal
No, that's
immigration
not-
remained at a like slightly higher level than it was under Biden.
Trump
but
said he's going to up
immigration
the
in
amount
general
of
is net
H1.
negative.
Trump literally said he's going
Can
to
I talk, please?
up the amount of immigration. Legal
Yeah, this is
immigration.
Gen Z doing what Gen Z does. The YouTuber, not the generation. Okay, so there's a degree to which I need to admit that I agree with Braxton here about where the future of the conservative movement is and what's going to happen in the next couple of years. It is a time for choosing, and I can't stress that enough, especially to your viewers, Gomez. It's a time for choosing, and it's a time for choosing exactly how far we're willing to go in order to save what we love about this country. And Gen Z's big bad guy, the Groyper's big bad guy, is Israel. And yeah, sure, feel free to hate on them for all of the foreign influence and all of the money peddling into our politics. But I honestly don't think it's our biggest problem. You can absolutely campaign on that. It will be an issue in 28. It might be an issue in 26 if this goes at the rate it's going.
Right.
But we're going to see at least one more high-profile assassination before we get to that point. It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like that's the unfortunate thing, man. 100% you're right. I actually agree with that.
So there's no good way of saying this other than to just say it. We are, by any historical measure, there's two things which I don't think you can ignore at this point. We're barreling towards a civil war, and the U.S. is entering its imperial phase in history. The Republic of the United States is fading into history, and I don't think even with the best intentioned people out there, it can be stopped at this point.
Yeah, especially with
regardless of what happens in the next few years, you're going to see the emergence of a highly militaristic, highly nationalistic faction that will take over the United States, be that the Groypers or some extremely pissed off version of the Charlie Kirk moderate conservatives, of which I'm certainly a part.
They won't do shit.
Sorry, you say that, but that's where all of the people with guns are. It's where all the vets are too.
They won't do shit.
So let me lay out exactly what I see happening in the next 3 to 5 years in America, and it could transpire as soon as 6 months from now. Boy, if Politics Gaming was on here, he would be just crying over what I'm about to say.
No, honestly, I think I would have disagreed with you a year ago, but after she came in, I was like, damn, man, like we're really close.
So I honestly think that was our Forrest Gump moment. So for all of your viewers who are not privy to the shit show that is our Discord server, I have been adamant since about 2019 that we are going to have a civil war in this country. And I thought in my hubris that Trump winning in such a landslide victory was enough to stop it, was enough to totally avert it and change the course of history. And that was foolish of me. I have to go out there and say that now. I was way too optimistic.
Yeah, same.
One of the singular greatest Americans and somebody who could unite even the most far-flung factions of the right is now dead because people hated him for his religion.
I don't think he could unite the. I don't think he was.
He would ignore the far right, but this is the thing: is like he's not like a Ben Shapiro type, you know.
No.
So I think that's 100%.
He could get your average Groyper to vote for Donald Trump. He was really the guy holding this whole thing together, and the current ideological divide is really going to show how much Charlie was the glue of everything.
For Gen Z, 100%, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
he was one of the first people who got me into politics, along with Hunter Avalon and the amazing Lucas.
I don't think there's a singular figure in the conservative movement who's more responsible for turning Gen Z to the right than Charlie Kirk. I think you can really solely accredit him for that, and everybody else is kind of just a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Kirk was the guy who made conservatism cool again for our generation. It wasn't just that it's the morally principled thing to stand on, or that the left is trying to rape kids in bathrooms. No, it was cool to be conservative because
at least she's not. At least she's not blowing Bill Clinton.
Yo, how do we feel about the Epstein files, bro? What the hell's going on with
there.
that?
Well,
all right, yeah. Okay.
So I don't exactly know the order of how this is going to go out, but I can tell you exactly how. I can tell you exactly the three things that are going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see another high-profile assassination, probably of someone on the right, but I think there's about a 25% chance it could be someone on the left. But either way, someone big is going to get killed, or at least come damn close to it, like a Trump kind of thing. And when that happens, that will really be the spark that lights everything off. Second thing is the ideological split in the right on two different issues is going to come to a head, probably in 28, possibly in 26. What do we do about the left? And who's our true enemy? Is it Israel or is it the Democrat Party?
Well, Israel funds the Democrats and the Republicans.
Argument that it's Israel. I argue it's the Democrat Party, and that we should have gotten rid of them after the Civil War.
Israel funds both parties.
I don't think it's Israel or the Democrat Party.
No, it's definitely Israel.
I don't think it's Israel or the Democrat.
I'm not saying I'm not obsessing over them, but
who you say it is, that question will be
Satan.
Raised. That question will come to a head, and it will be a mainstay political issue for the Republicans.
Two things can be true at once. You're right.
And the third thing is, the person who takes power next inevitably is going to have to deal with a militarized faction who is either supporting them or against them. That is not in debate at this point. You guys thought I was crazy even 6 months ago for saying we're on the track to civil war, and then Charlie Kirk got shot.
Yeah, well, actually, me and Gen Z have a conversation. We'll have this after the live. But man, Gen Z, we were scared as hell.
Yeah, well, okay. Here's the thing: is I agree with most of what you said. I think you've always tried to portray it as like two sides are going to be fighting. I don't think it's going to be a civil war, and what we know is to be a civil war.
Well, what the American Civil War was not representative of civil wars.
Okay, well let me say what I think. I agree with you. There's probably going to be a high profile assassination. Now, at the same time, I think 97% of Americans are people that are completely, like, pretty much cattle in the sense to where they'll listen to the news. They'll do basically whatever anyone says. They want comfort. They're not really built for like any sort of combat or anything. Right. Now, what I think we could see is maybe 3 to 4% of Americans, like the people in Portland, and then maybe far right people, like maybe far right groups, like not the Groypers. I don't think that's a good.
Oh, there's a percentage of the Groypers that absolutely will pick guns up.
Yeah, but those people aren't mainly Groypers. Those people are mainly like the Charlestons type of people. Like, what's that one?
That's fair.
Like Patriot Front, like, because there's people that like listen to Nick Fuentes, but they're not like they all hold different. Like, you don't understand. Like, with Nick Fuentes' ideology, it's a huge ideology that covers about like thousands of different factions of like far right extremists.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, you see that with the dude that went to jail because he threatened to kill Laura Loomer. Like, that dude's not Nick Fuentes, even though he interacted with Nick Fuentes. And so I think that you could see like people going into big cities and like fighting each other, burning stuff down, shooting each other, stuff like that. But that's
probably what it'll end up being.
But
it's going to be a small percentage.
Because I've studied this pretty extensively. I'm actually writing a paper on it right now for my senior thesis in college. I think that what will play out is, unless we get direct divine intervention on this, I think it will be very reminiscent of the Syrian civil war. I don't think it'll take as long. I think it'll probably be a at very most, it'll be a 2 to 8 year conflict. But one thing I do want to point out to you, Braxton, is do you off the top of your head know the percentage of the people who actually were combatants in the revolution?
No.
It was like in the American Revolution.
Yes.
Like originally, like when they first like wanted independence and
no,
like
I mean overall, over the entire
by
people who actually fought.
By the time that the war actually started.
No, like from Concord all the way until the surrender at.
Okay, I would say probably about 40%, but I don't know the exact percentage.
No,
how much was it?
The documented percentage via the Library of Congress's numbers is 11%. On both sides,
but that's just people that like were full out like we need independence. Because
no. I mean, this is like everybody who actually fought.
Oh, who actually fought? Yeah.
There's a world of difference between the media. I mean, what we would consider the media back then, and people who are actually willing to do the dirty work on the ground.
No, I agree with you.
It took, if you split it 50-50, which it wasn't really, but if you split it 50-50, that's about 5.5% of the nation's population at the time who actually felt so strongly about the matter that they were willing to fight.
No, I agree with you. And I want to
add it does not take much. You want to know the percentage of it in the Civil War? It was 8% on both sides.
No, I agree with you. I think
civil wars in this country are fought by a small minority of people who have the grit to do what they think needs to be done.
And that's the thing is, I think that there's a book that I read once, or not that I read, but like I read the overview of. There's a famous author that said it takes 10% of a civilization to change it forever. And
Stephen Marsh.
Yeah, Stephen Marsh, that's who it was.
One of his like best books recently is The Second Civil War, which he wrote like right before J6.
Yeah.
But he's a bit of a lefty, but I highly recommend everybody read the book because even though he ascribes blame wrongly in it, he's absolutely right about how the process occurs.
Yeah, but
very enlightening book.
Yeah, but here's the thing is what I think is like so many people are just cattle. And that's why like you were saying with the door knocking, you go to 200 doors in a row and most people are just like your typical Trump supporters. I agree with you. I 100% agree. However, that is not because you were knocking on homeowners' doors and people that are like running the country right now. However, with the younger generation, people under 22, 23, people maybe a little older,
they're not homeowners.
Mainly Gen Z, you might be very far to the left, the Zorhan Mamdani type.
That's about 20% of our generation.
I think it's more in my.
The really crazy leftists about 20%.
I don't know where you get that figure from, but I would say
the number of people who identify as LGBTQ, and there's some give or take in that, but then there's also some crazy people who don't identify as that.
I live in this is not a good appeal to logic, but like I do live in a liberal area, but like I would say 50% of the females I follow on Instagram post like celebrating Zorhan Mamdani's win.
Oh, it's more than 50.
And they don't know shit about him neither.
Yeah, they don't even know who he is.
Not in the slightest.
The point
They're idiots. I think everybody in here can agree that Gen Z women need to wake the hell up.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I think that we're seeing not in the older generation, like especially like boomers, Gen X.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not boomers.
And it's MAGA's fault, though. I feel that it's our fault that women aren't siding with us, and I feel that we need to open up.
Can I just give my quick position? And so I think that with the younger generation, we are seeing radicalization on both sides to a scale we've never seen. So the Catholic Patriots point, I agree that I don't think our country could be sustained like that. I think that America won't survive much longer if this radicalization keeps happening. However, I think that when this radicalization does happen, I want to be on one side of it, and I want to be on the side that's Christ first. And so I think that it is happening, and I think that you see it specifically between men and women. It's an insane time in history where 80% of men are on one side.
You got a smart chat, Gomez.
80% of women are on another side.
What's a smart
chat?
No, I mean like your chat is. There's some good comments coming in right now.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, all right, bet.
The latest one I do want to touch on because personally, I my probably biggest source of media and consumption is probably like the Timcast IRL show. And I know Braxton will laugh his ass off about that, but one of the guys they had on recently
hold on, he's not a Zionist actually. He called Israel out.
No, I mean Tim has been very vocally against it.
I know about Tim. Okay, keep going.
One of the guys they had on fairly recently, who I also follow, is Rudyard Lynch over at the What If Alt Hist channel. And PG hates this guy, hates him with a burning passion. But he doesn't have a good argument against the guy. And in my opinion, he's probably the most well-read philosopher and anthropologist in our current generation, because I think he's like right at the cutoff between millennials and Gen Z. But he has made a lot of points about this, Zion, about exactly what you're talking about, of where do people's immediate loyalties lie when this all transpires. And the short and simple of it is, across history, the same thing has played out a billion times. We're not living through anything novel. Where the loyalties of people lie is exactly what you say they are. They're in the immediate community and their immediate tribalistic friend group, basically.
Which is how it should be.
And that means that when the normies are faced with the storm that's on the horizon, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to bunker down, and they're going to be cattle that get killed in all this, or they're going to flock to the side that wants to win. And a good point that I heard raised actually on the Joe Rogan show recently was the side that wants to win in a conflict is always the side that is going to be going to beat the side that wants to be left alone. And this is my biggest critique of my own side right now within the right, the Charlie Kirk conservatives. We have been complacent for so long, and it's the reason Fuentes has so much traction right now. We tried to pretend like he was the monster under the bed who didn't exist.
I love how you admit it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but Ben Shapiro is like
he's coping, but Catholic, you're admitting it though, which is good.
Yeah, like we tried to pretend that Fuentes was never going to be a thing, and in the process created him. We did. We made him the cool hip thing to be. Yeah,
Ben Shapiro created Fuentes.
Yep.
He did.
I think there were external forces that also drove his rise to power, but I mean the attempted censorship by TPUSA, by the conservatives in the middle, that can't be overstated. We created our own worst nightmare on the right. And so what I really do think the wake-up call, and I think this is like, thank God for J.D. Vance, because he's probably the first mainstream politician in a while who actually has the balls to deal with the left. Because he was close friends with Charlie Kirk. And I think that loss hurt him quite a bit. We have been complacent about the left for so long. We have been part of this ideology that says we can change their minds. We can save them in a Christian sense. No, we can't. And we saw that with how they reacted to Charlie Kirk's death. Irregardless if Israel was responsible for that or not, the reaction of the left speaks for itself.
Yep.
You can see demons in their eyes.
I agree.
It's not up for debate. The look in all of their eyes when they made those videos praising his assassin or shitting on his death was it looks like glee. Watch some of these videos, you notice exactly what I'm talking about. It looks like glee, but when you actually look at their eyes for long enough, it's the exact same look, and it's just thinly veiled hatred.
Did you see that video of mine, CPUSA? Actually,
I
attended.
You did a really good job on that.
I appreciate it so much. Yeah, so I went there, dude, to the Charlie Kirk Memorial in Glendale, Phoenix, Arizona, dude. And man, that the evil that they were saying, specifically the woman sitting down in the chair saying that, oh, well, he would have wanted it, and her argument was just because he's pro 2A and that like that's kind of like a gotcha.
Is the reason he deserves.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, dude, wait, like how does that make sense? And especially with it being a 30-06 rifle, like an old ass rifle, she's acting like it's an AR-15. I was like, yeah, like it wasn't that type of firearm. What are you talking about?
No,
it's an old ass gun. Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree with that. Like this is one of those things where I really just can't see eye to eye with the Groypers when they when you, Braxton, say stuff like I'm willing to vote for the Democrats in protest about the Republicans, sure, do that 20 years ago, but that ship has sailed. We are dealing with the literal party of Satan. I don't mince words when I say that. These people say it themselves. They've embraced Satanism. Last semester at Benedictine, they actually were having signs here on the campus trying to get people to go down to Topeka to protest a black mass that was happening on the Capitol, sponsored by the Democrat Party.
Okay, I need to talk because I've so much and I haven't been able to respond. I think, and I want to defend my position on that, because I truly believe that if we do not have a faction of conservatives right now, it can't just be like a few hundred people that truly stand up for Jesus Christ and truly stand up for real conservative ideals, I don't think that our country or people will survive. And so when you're saying you will vote for Democrats to stick it to the right, here's my thing, is the leader of our party right now is trying to suppress, is trying to kick people out of the party, is trying to do everything in his power to stop child rapists and people that hurt children from being exposed. He's threatening Congress people with their jobs that want to release lists and documents that show what happened to these innocent children and these elitist people raping them. And so I think that I can't be on the side of that. I think that it is just incompatible with what I believe.
Your face is out of frame.
Oh, it's just incompatible with what I believe. And so I think that I have to fight that. I can't.
I want to put off the Epstein thing a little bit longer. I'm not avoiding this. Trust, I have a lot to say on this, and it's critical of Trump. Sure, I agree with you 95%.
But it's just, but yeah, it's just like
I want to really drill this point.
But wait, let me. But I need to finish I need to finish the whole thing, because the Epstein thing isn't the only part of it. That is one major thing. Is like, I can't be supporting these people. Another thing is like, I think JD Vance is good on some things, bad on other things. He's trying to toe the line, like, and he's doing pretty well at it because he's a great public speaker. But I also have significant issues with JD Vance and saying we're going to let him lead this movement. Some of those issues are his upbringing. I'll give a quick overview. You guys probably know, but he did have
the Greens.
Yeah, he did have a humble upbringing. He did have something really hard happen to him with the whole Hillbilly Elegy book. His mom was a druggie, but from day one, he was completely astroturfed by Peter Thiel. He was hired by him to work a ghost job while he went on a book tour. He was trying to make himself likable. In 2016, he compared Trump to Hitler because he thought that was the way the conservative movement was going. And then after Trump won in 2017, him, Peter Thiel, and a whole bunch of other billionaires had a meeting talking about how JD Vance will become the president by 2036. He's a little bit ahead of schedule, but his plan remained the same. He got inputted into the vice president position because they told him he was supposed to be there. Now he's trying to pretend like he's America first and pretend like he's in the middle and he wants to put America first. And he's a little bit critical of Israel.
Vance is the same as my view of Fuentes.
He's a little bit critical of. Yeah, but you can't show me any specific evidence.
Given you multiple examples.
But you've not given me one actual example.
Keep going on your main point.
Okay, but you haven't given me an actual example of Fuentes being paid by anyone. It is true that JD Vance was paid by Peter Thiel. That is public record. Peter Thiel, Palantir.
Fuentes hasn't run for anything. We don't have access to his financial records the same way we have access to
JD Vance's and Peter Thiel's upbringing in politics is two completely different stories. They're not the same at all. But the point, and he was banned off of every social media. What was JD Vance ever banned from? He was always mainstream conservative. He just does what's the most popular at the moment. And right now, the popular idea is to criticize Israel, but not the Jews. And so he's kind of critical of Israel, but not really. And so JD Vance was completely astroturf from day one. He's married to some Indian that came here. He doesn't have white kids. His kids aren't even Christian.
You're the mask is slipping, Braxton.
The mask isn't slipping. This is my clear position, is that he's trying to say that America should
Take note, everybody.
Yeah, this is true. He's trying to say that America...
This is the unmasked Groypers right here.
I'm not being unmasked. This is my mask full out and something I've always said. He's trying to say that America should be a Christian country and it should be built on Christian ideals while his wife worships a cow. And so my my whole thing is that he can't, and his wife is saying that she'll never convert to Christianity. Like, I don't want someone in the White House that's going to make it smell like curry and deny the freaking divinity of Jesus Christ. And
That's
so
crazy.
Gomez, get your reaction to that.
You know, damn.
My position is clear, is that I think Vance cannot properly lead the conservative movement. Do I want to give him a chance? Yes. He's been more promising than most politicians. But if he does not pick a side, I will not vote for him. I will support people like Tucker Carlson. And these people are coming together, and they will oppose the person that runs in 2028 if they don't put America first. There's already a meeting in place for all these America first people. They're going to convene together, and they're going to come up with a plan, and they're going to unite. And so that's my biggest thing. I agree with you that a civil war is imminent. I agree with you that a large portion of the Democrat Party is demonic, but I don't think the people in the party are demonic. I think a lot of the leaders are. I know a lot of very good people that just are Democrat because they love other people and they want to be kind, that aren't celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And so I think lots of them are demonic, but I think our enemy is Satan and the Antichrist. And I don't think it's just a party of people that make up half of our country.
Gomez, give your reaction to that before I do.
Well, I think to be honest, that was a good point to be stated. You know, in recent months, like over the last several months, I've attended protests, both right, both left, and you know, leftists. I actually attended the No Kings protest. Leftists and liberals. Besides the smell, they were nice. You know, they were good people. And I do think that I have to agree. I don't think the left, at least the ones. You know, I'm not including the ones who are, like you were referring to, CPUs, the ones who are glorifying CK's death, Charlie Kirk's death. I'm not talking about these people, but I'm referring to the Democrats who haven't done that. I mean, we should find common ground, and we need to unite because that's what we need.
And there
right
is
now.
common ground.
There is common ground. Yeah, there's plenty of common ground. I mean, I think So let me give some positions that both parties normally agree with. I mean, for example, most Americans are for some type of progressive tax system. Even when it comes to like billionaires owning, you know, multiple different products, like BlackRock, and Blackstone, and So
we just need to go to the throat with those people.
Yeah, most Americans want to do that, but
90%. That's my point. 90% of Americans.
The other 10% are in on it.
So we need to focus on, you know, uniting the country on stuff like this. That is American first, because American first, you don't have to be a conservative, you don't have to be a Republican to actually be part of America first. And actually, the first person to coin America first, he was a Democrat, Woodrow Wilson, which I wasn't really a big fan of him. He's also a racist, but
that's just not true. You just don't,
dude. Wilson aired The Birth of a Nation at the White House. Don't make that point. Don't discredit yourself.
You just don't know.
I like you too much.
You just don't know enough about Woodrow Wilson.
What do you mean?
You think he's completely racist? But
Woodrow Wilson?
Yeah.
Dude,
what are you talking
about? Racist person who ever sat in the White House.
All right, let me fact check myself real quick.
His dad was a member of the KKK, and he debatably was, but whatever. Keep going.
Wait, Catholic. What's your opinion on this?
I'm not a huge fan of Wilson. Let's put it that way.
Wilson was a great president. But whatever.
Oh, we got a question in the chat for Gen Z. I'm curious about your stance on this, Gen Z. Is interracial dating and marriage actually a real social issue politically?
Are you going to private this stream once we're done?
No, keep it up.
Yeah, this is probably going to be kept up just like so people know where we stood.
I think
historical text.
So Gen Z.
Well, because I actually have like ambitions, and so
the chat has spoken. Answer the question.
Yeah,
I'll answer the question if you private the stream after.
No, you're not.
Well, here. Look, I'll give you like a liberal, like a nice version of saying it. For me personally, I love interracial dating, marriage. I don't glorify, but me personally, like that's I love black women, man. That's I've been with black women. But Gen Z, what you could say is for your preference, you love white women. That's what you could say.
Okay, here I'll add.
Just say you love white women and you don't want to be with anyone else. Black people do it. It's okay. It's preference.
I'll give my answer, and I'll give it very clearly. I think that you as a person should date people or should marry people that fit with your religious and political ideals. Not as much political, but religious ideals. I think the most important.
I think both are important.
I think the most important thing that you could do is marry someone that fits your religious ideals. I think it would be better to marry Asian Christian than white Satanist, However, with that being said, I think that it's not just a preference thing. I think that there is something that is inherently different between races. And I think that race is reality. And I'm a race realist. And I think that in order for civilization to thrive, I think that we have to keep white kids. I think that Africans should focus on keeping black kids like they do. Asians should focus on keeping Asian kids. I think the reason that we have pushed interracial marriage so much in America is because they are trying to replace white people and get rid of them. If you take a look at the UK, they're importing Muslims left and right. In 50 years, the country won't have any more white people. They'll all be Muslims. And so I think that cancer is slowly spreading to America. And I think that we need to address that. Now, to make it clear, I don't hate people that date with outside of their race. Like, I'm not like, oh, you're a race traitor or you're going to be sent to hell, because at the end of the day, I don't think skin color is I don't think that like determines whether you're going to go to heaven or hell or whatever. But I do think that there are realities with races, and when you mix it, it doesn't lead to good things. It's not just preference. Like, I find some Asian women equally as attractive as white women, but I'll never marry someone that's not white because I want white kids and I want my genetics to thrive. And so that's my opinion on it. I'm not just going to say it's a preference thing. I think that there's more to it. And I think that there also is something to be said about the IQ of your kids and stuff like that.
No, I disagree. I think mixed people.
I believe mixed people. I've got a really good response to this, and it comes straight out of the Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Go ahead.
I need to briefly stand in a soapbox about philosophy, and specifically aesthetics, which for those people in the chat who may not be as versed in philosophy as I am, because I am a philosophy major. Chat.
I just don't want the law firm that's going to hire me in 10 years to be like, let's find some Gen Z patriot. They use Palantir. They pull it up. He said that he doesn't think people that are black and white should get
married. Dude, oh my God. We're fucked.
So we're all doomed. Let's hope it never gets to that point. And the good Lord in his mercy hits the world with a solar EMP storm that knocks out all of the world's communications before that happens.
We're cooked. Nah, dude, the Israeli technology that they got on us.
We're convinced that's going to happen.
Dude, anything of your face or voice that's ever been on social media is in public record.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So also, Gen Z, I wanted to hit a topic. So you said Woodrow Wilson wasn't a racist. Do you think segregation is racist or no?
No.
Okay, so that's why you don't think he's a racist. I was like, he is racist though. What are you talking about? I think it's racist, me personally. So I guess that's an agree to disagree, because we can't even really debate that if that's what you believe. So, Catholic, what were you saying?
So aesthetics is the philosophical topic about beauty and what is beautiful. And okay, possibly I'm a hypocrite on this because I'm defending Vance, I'm defending interracial marriage, and I'm dating somebody who looks the exact same as me, who's same ethnic origins as me. I am Gavin Newsom in this regard, but you ever look at Newsom's family?
No, beautiful.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they're beautiful. Yeah. No, I was just saying, like, white boy got motion like Gavin Newsom. I thought you were like playing into that type of thing. I thought you were saying that. All right. That would have been funny. All right, go ahead.
What makes a person beautiful is not just their physical appearance. It's not just who they are as a biological entity, because we're not just biological creatures. We are soul and matter, or we are form and matter together, as Plato would say. We exist in two worlds, the spiritual and the physical, and that sets us apart from every creature in nature, even the angels. That's why God coming down and incarnating as a man is so significant and sets Christianity so far apart from every other religion on the planet. Is because our God loved us so much that he actually became our form, our fallen form, in order to understand our experience. This is something that I can't stress enough, is that we have an attraction to people, be it in any form of love, because there's more than just romantic love. There's more than just eros. Be it agape, philly, those are all philosophical forms of love. I love Braxton and I love Gomez as friends. I don't love them romantically. So there is a kind of attraction to other people which is deeper than just chemicals going off in the brain. It's not just that we are white wants to mate with white, Asian wants to mate with Asian, black wants to mate with black, and that the disorder that has crept into society is all about just mixing those lines and destroying IQ and destroying a biological reality. No, it's not just about that. It's even more insidious than that. It's that these people who are pushing all of this race theory Gen Z's right to call this out as a problem, especially in Britain. Oh my God, it's a problem in Britain. Listen to the Lotus Eaters podcast if you really want to hear the black pill about Britain.
You talking about the migration problem that they're having, Canada's having?
Yeah. Oh wait, I have some breaking news though. Trump just allowed Republicans to release the Epstein files and vote for Massey's bill.
Chat.
No way.
Yeah.
Why?
What? Like I said,
why? Hold on, that's weird.
But I want to finish.
I'm glad, but
yeah, go ahead. I just had to give some breaking news.
And I apologize that this is taking so long, but I really want to be clear on this.
You're good.
When you have these people who go and are trying to force this anti-whiteism, right? It's not just about destroying the white people as a race, because it's a color of a skin. The one part about this that I disagree with Braxton on is that there's a biological reality. I know very, very, very good black people here at Benedictine, and they were adopted out of extraordinarily degenerate homes, and they have risen well and truly above all of that.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So,
but that's not my point.
And that's
you're misrepresenting my point.
Well, hold on. Let me finish, and then you can respond. We have an attraction to people which is spiritual, and that attraction to people it's built into our nature because we're matter and form. And that attraction goes beyond what someone looks like on the outside. It goes and it gets to the heart of who they are on the inside. We don't say that people on the left are ugly just because their physical form has degenerated. You can dress somebody up like a frog and say they're ugly, but that doesn't mean they're a bad person. No, this pops up in media, this pops up in fiction because it's such a well-known and well-understood topic, even if subconsciously. Who you are on the inside, what you allow into your soul, it affects what you look like on the outside. You go to these protests and you see these leftists who I've met some people who are on the left who I genuinely think would be very beautiful people if they weren't so obsessed with hate.
Right.
If they had not infested their soul with just the full ideology of Satan. So to Braxton's larger point about attraction and about race and whatnot, I can't even say that it's just culture. It's who you choose to be as a human being and what you allow into your soul that really dictates attraction.
Sure. So here's my take on it, and I guess I won't hold back. But it is an undeniable biologic fact, and I could show you guys the peer review sources. You could call it eugenics, you could call it whatever you want, but it's really not. The simple fact
it all gives arguments for abortion, dude. A lot of this stuff goes back to Margaret Sanger.
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think
it does.
Really?
I'm gonna give my take, and you could call me racist.
Dude, you haven't looked into Margaret Sanger.
No, I have. Planned
Parenthood. I know who Margaret Sanger
is.
is. But here's the fact, and here's my position. And you can call me racist, but the beautiful thing is that word doesn't mean much in 2025.
That's why I didn't call you that.
But here's the thing: is I think that two things could be true at once. I think that everyone is created in the image of God. Every single person has unique value, and every single person has a heart and a soul, and every single person can return to heaven because we all chose Christ before coming to earth. However, I do think that race is real, And I do think that God created people in different ways. For the same reason that sub-Saharan Africans are more athletic and are more highly represented in sports, because that was their biological evolution to run short distance, to hunt, and to fight. And so that is why those muscles were developed differently than like white Europeans were. And it is true that on average, I'm not saying every single black person, because there's black people that are a lot smarter than me, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, that are geniuses.
Neil
But on
deGrasse
average,
is a sophist.
But still, he's smart.
That Ben Carson is a much better example of what you're
Ben
talking
Carson,
about.
I'll say that example. But on average, sub-Saharan Africans have 15 to 35 less IQ points than white Europeans do. And that is because of their biological evolution. Now, that's not my argument for why you shouldn't race mix. I think it's a reason why people might not want to. And I think it's a reason why we see a lot more crime with black people. I don't think it's just a cultural thing. I also think it's a racial issue.
I disagree.
And I think that's why we see Africa as a less developed place, not just because
I definitely want to raise a counterexample, but finish.
Okay. Now, here's the thing is I think that people of other races are attractive. I think that some brown people are attractive. I think that Asians are attractive. That's not my reason against race mixing. My reason against it is because white culture or European culture, since the death of Jesus Christ, is inherently Christian. If you bring in a whole bunch of third worlders and Indians, then you're going to lose Christianity. I think that people should stick with their own culture. And I think that when we get rid of that, it gets rid of a reality. And I think the reason lots of people like George Soros and these satanic figures want to import millions of Indians, millions of Mexicans, is because they want to get rid of Christianity. And if you see, that's exactly what they're doing in the United Kingdom. And I think when you get rid of white culture, you're getting rid of Christianity. Now, obviously,
notice there you said white culture, not white genetics.
Yeah, but it's parallel. If you get rid of white culture, if you get rid of white genetics, it's going to get rid of white culture, because race does have culture to it. It's
so
you can't have one without the
other. I disagree. I think that
that specific thing. What would you say about Armenia? Armenia is a predominantly Middle Eastern and Greek region, and they have been, I mean, genetically speaking, they have been cut off from Europe for a very long time.
Yeah,
and their culture is basically Roman Catholicism, the way it manifests in Italy, and it has been since before the Second World War.
Yeah, same thing with Ethiopia. Like the first Bible was the Ethiopian Bible. I mean, I'm not saying that Christianity was.
I think the Greeks had it before they did, but go on.
It was the Ethiopian Bible was the farthest.
The Greeks were literate, dude.
But the simple point is, yes, obviously, and Jesus was in the Middle East. Jesus was in Bethlehem and Israel. He was in the Holy Land. But that doesn't take away from the fact of what I'm saying is that
it kind of does.
Largely, if you take a look at the percentage of people, and like if you take a look at the Crusades, if you take a look at the Catholic Church, this largely happened in Europe with white people, and white people built the ideals of Christianity, and they built the ideals of your church, the Catholic Church. I think that you can't. I think if you're going to replace white people, you're going to replace the identity and the ideals. And I think that it's just not a good idea.
That didn't happen in Armenia. You've not responded to you've not explained why Armenia is the way that it is. If culture is genetic, if the values that we hold are predestined by who we are,
you haven't understood a word I've said. If that's what you.
But that's what you've said.
That's not what I've said.
Then elaborate.
I think that culture, like if you take a look at Mexico, a large portion of Mexicans are Catholic. A large portion
culturally Catholic.
So yeah, they're kind of fake, but they're still traditionally Catholic. Lots of South Americans are traditionally Catholic. This doesn't take away from anything I've said that white culture is a Christian culture throughout the last 2,000 years.
Okay, so specifically what I want you to narrow down on is what's the relationship between race and culture?
The relationship between race and culture is that white culture is a Christian culture throughout the large.
No. I mean, take white out of it. What is the relationship between race and culture? What does one affect the other, and how?
I mean, it does affect the other.
How?
Because regions of the world are certain races, and certain regions develop culture.
I wanted to get you there. Gomez, do you mind if I interrupt him and give kind of a long example?
You're good.
Okay. I apologize for the interruption, Braxton.
No, you're good. You're
I
good.
really do think this is important. I have a good friend here. I won't say her name out of respect, but fairly American name.
What's up?
She was adopted out of a family from inner city Detroit. I happen to know what their...
Sorry, I have to interrupt real quick. I have to leave in 15 minutes, so at 7:50.
Gotcha. I'll speed this up so that we can talk about the Epstein stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, dude, let's get into that too. I've read after this, so go ahead.
Put it off long enough. I happen to know what this girl's biological parents' IQ scores were because she's very into this topic, and she's black, but you'd never think that she came from an inner city community and talking to her. Her parents' IQ scores are about the level where you consider them like gorillas. They're not smart people by IQ numbers. And so if what you're saying is true, if genetics plays a role in how smart you are and like the cap of how smart you can be, this girl's IQ should be 60 to 70 range.
The exception isn't the rule, though.
No,
that's not a good example.
If this is biology, it follows a predictable track. You can't just make a leap like this. And let me finish. Because this really is...
One sec, I'll be right back. I have to go talk to my mom.
You're good. Go ahead, Cal, unless you want to wait for him.
No, I'm more so talking to the chat because I know I'm not going to convince him.
Okay.
This girl's IQ score is like 102. She's a genius. And you realize that in talking to her. She's very, very smart. And I think that really goes to show that IQ is a bunk system. That it plays... There's a lot more that goes into you as a person and how you choose to develop. And if you choose cognitive dissonance on a day-to-day basis, if you choose to remain a victim of your own settings, you'll never go far in life. You will develop an ideology that makes you complacent and mentally slow. But if you choose to pursue truth, if you choose not to be a victim, and if you in particular pursue education, then you will go great places. I have a second really good example that everybody in this chat will know of, and you can go read his book, by the way. It's Ben Carson. Ben Carson grew up in an inner city community in Detroit. And I mean, to say that his upbringing was rough, it was rough. His mother was a single mother. I don't have her exact IQ score, but she had about a third grade education. He actually came
IQ is an education
recently on my campus. Ben Carson, growing up, got into a lot of fights, same way that a lot of inner city black kids do when they're in school. His brother described him at that age as one of the dumbest kids that he knew. And his teachers basically told him he was never going to go anywhere. And he was perfectly happy with that. And he chose over the course of his education that he was going to amount to more than that. That he was going to do something and he was going to be better than what people said that he could be. And if this was an issue of genetics, he would have never been able to beat the standard. The ruler would have been the metric by which he's judged.
Okay.
And
you guys are misrepresenting my point.
No, we're not. I think
yes,
you just don't understand the logical inconsistencies.
No, you're just not representing my point correctly and didn't listen to a word I said.
Acknowledge differences, work together. Well, I'd like to, but I also believe in objective truth.
Well, no, I think he's talking. He's the person in the comments is referring to just race in general. So race is more of a social construct more than it is like a biological aspect.
You guys
so
are wrong, though. I mean, so explain to me why there are more Africans on average in sports, even though more white people play sports. Because they're genetic. Because they have more. Because they have fast twitch muscles.
It's the same.
Yeah, well,
that's a biological reality.
Hold on. Do you know slave owners actually bred them to be a lot? Some of them bred like.
I'm not talking about American black people.
Well, let Gomez finish.
Yeah, well, no, slave owners. I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about America, black people. That's why I said. That's why I brought up American.
Using the American example.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we look at, black folks and Hispanic folks, most of them are like lower educated. They are lower funded. So, I mean, if we could,
Yeah,
help the
same
lower
thing with
class.
Africa though. Here's the thing
Yeah. Yeah.
is here's the thing, and here is my argument. I don't think we should treat anyone differently based off of race, or I don't think we should not hire people based off of race because they may have a lower IQ. However, there's a couple things. One, education is not IQ. IQ is an innate thing that you are born with.
But I've
Another
disproved that.
Pattern recognition and stuff like that. Yeah.
IQ is innate. IQ isn't something that you learn. Here's another thing is the exception isn't the rule. There are black people with a higher IQ, just like there's white people that are faster than some black people. But if you take a look, like even if you watch the Olympics, here's an example everyone should agree on. If you take a look at the different distances that are ran in the Olympics, some of them are all whites, like the 1600-meter race. Some of them are all black.
Mile race is like always white guys.
Yeah, some of them are all blacks, like the 100-meter race. And the reason for that is because the environment that their ancestors were born in, they adapted to different genetic traits. So like Jamaicans, for example, have extremely fast twitch muscles because they're running farther. I mean, because they're running short distance to hunt and gather. Like white people in Europe were sheep herders, and so they were able to run for days, and they were able to have better endurance speed. And so that's the reason why in the Olympics we see certain races dominate certain fields because of genetics. But now you can't just say, oh, that only stops at genetics, because it's the same reason why most people, like 95% of people that aren't white, are lactose intolerant, and white people are able to drink milk.
I'll concede your point that evolution has made human beings different.
Yeah, but
I will concede that point.
But most people will just say.
But
most
Braxton,
people will just say
that's
eugenics. Now you're just being dishonest with the fact.
Hold on. There's a point of this that you failed to recognize, and I think it's largely because you aren't educated in Thomistic philosophy. Do you believe that the mind is in the brain?
I can't give a response to that. I don't know what that question tells.
Okay. Do you believe that our software is contained within our hardware?
The brain.
Simple question, yes or no?
I don't really know what you're asking.
Is the brain the thing that makes the decisions for the human body? I mean on a rational level.
It's a hard question. I mean,
it is a hard question.
I get where you're going at, but I don't know.
So for the longest track of time, and even like the church fathers thought this. I'm talking all the way going back to Augustine and Anselm. So not the founding generation of the Christian church, but certainly some of its greatest fathers, and certainly still people that the Mormons hold as great men. That the notion was always there, and St. Thomas really put it well, is that the mind is separate from the matter. I once had a priest put it to me like this. The soul is the person who's playing the game, and the brain is the video game controller, and the body is the character on screen. You can't explain what we do, our differences, our innate ability to go and reach the exact opposite conclusions from the same set of facts if you're just going off of that the brain is the software. It's the hardware, certainly. We know that as a biological fact. We know that there can be differences in the brain given genetics. I mean, obviously that explains mental illnesses in large part. But to say that the software is there, that's a whole different thing entirely. So this was the position of Anselm. This was the position of actually Plato, and Aristotle negated it, funny enough. This was the position of Aquinas and of Augustine. The soul is where the powers of the human person are contained. It's not in the mind. And so, yeah, I concede that there are biological differences between human beings, that evolution has made us different. And there's because
but you won't acknowledge that on an IQ.
No. You're failing to understand what I'm saying. Listen. Yes.
No, you're just not confronting my actual argument.
No, I am confronting your actual argument. There are biological differences between human beings. There may even be biological differences in the brain. But that doesn't affect the mind. that doesn't affect who we are as people and our capacity to be human beings.
What would you say about
God gives every person the innate ability to reason their way to knowing him. Because
so Genji, go ahead and give your response.
Did not do that otherwise.
Genji, you can give your response, and then we can move on to the Jeffrey Epstein, because I know you got to go. So
what would you say? What would you say about like the people on North Sentinel Island then?
I'm not totally familiar.
Okay, they're a tribe that's on an island that hasn't been contacted in 50,000 years.
It's in India, yeah. We're close to India.
Oh, is that one of those like South Pacific islands?
Yeah, and there's a tribe that hasn't been contacted by anyone in over 50,000 years.
There's been a couple people that win, and like sometimes they go missing, and like they even got footage of someone.
What was this? Was this the island that thought that like the parachute drops of supplies from American planes during World War II were like gifts from the gods?
Maybe. Actually, I think so.
That's
maybe.
In South America.
Are you sure?
No, I think that was in the South Pacific.
All right, actually, but here I really want to keep this conversation going, but my family's making me do something.
We can do a separate stream on all this.
Yeah, wait, are you guys doing it? Are you guys like doing anything? Oh, you guys are probably gonna go to bed. It's late for you, but yeah, maybe another night. Okay.
All right. Hey, we can do a stream next week if y'all want to. Anytime this week is fine.
Yeah, we could start streaming. I think it would be.
Yeah, I'm gonna try getting my other account connected.
I won't be as I mean I want to give my actual opinions, but I mean like we also can't deny that like you also need to conceal some of your opinions sometimes because obviously people are trying to cancel you and like you can't be open in America.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that open and honest is the exact way we win this.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you give your open and honest opinion, they won't allow you to get jobs.
Also, I will say, Captain Juan 1441 in the comments. We're gonna be going live on the Gomez Media, the main channel soon.
All right,
I just
gotta
get it connected. All right, man. Be safe. But Captain, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be going live. We've been live for like last 2 hours, so we are leaving. But if you want, man, you can join in my Discord and we could talk about doing a live here soon. But CPU, man, it was nice talking to you, man. It was nice seeing you.
Always good time, Gomez. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Have a good night. All right, folks. Y'all have a good night as well. Bye. It's not even letting me in this shit. Oh, snap. Dog. Yo, my screen, Catholic, this whole time, my screen has been like paused, so I can't mute myself. I can't type any comments. I can't do anything. So I'm just gonna close my whole app. But hey, man, it was nice talking to you. I'm a Discord chat, y'all. All right, man. See you. Bye.